my background be
So
like.
look, I be in the breakfast area in my next to the kitchen by the
Oh, don't
living
worry.
room.
Trust me. Trust me. When we move, I already know where I'm gonna be at. Oh,
But
trust me.
dog, I gotta set it up. I just gotta set it up. Like if I set it up the way it should be, I could do it either in the dining room or in the man cave upstairs that's no longer in use. But I do have an idea for the setup though. Like I got one. It's just a matter of just putting it all together and you know what I'm saying, just making it work. But you know how we got to get our little pre-show, little rambling on or whatever. Uh,
Banter. Gotta get that
yeah,
banter in.
yeah, because
Mm.
literally we was about to have this whole conversation before we went live, and I was like, nah, let's just go live and let the people, pull back the curtain a little bit, little stuff we just be talking about sometimes.
Facts.
But yes, it's Jermaine, it's Keyz here again live with
You're
Sucio Sports.
Sucio.
It's Thanksgiving week, y'all. So we got to
It
come with for
is.
the intro. We had to.
What y'all eating for Thanksgiving? I think I know
Bruh,
what I'm.
it's gonna
I
be a
feel like it was.
buffet.
I think it's. I ain't even being fun. I love that this is happening on live. I think it's only playing in your headphones.
Are you
I can
serious?
hear it, bro. I promise
Hold
you, I
up,
can hear it, but it's like
hold up.
it's super faint, like it's far away. I can hear it though. That's why I was like, I was waiting for it to drop, and then I happened to look up, and you're like, yeah,
How does it sound now?
I can hear it. It's the same. It's like super faint.
Huh?
It's not loud at all. Hold on. Let me make sure it's just not my headphones. Hold on.
I was about to say because I'm.
No, it's not.
What the hell?
Yeah, I'm listening. I just pulled it up on my phone too.
Oh, you know what? Hold up.
Bloopers. The blooper
Let's
reel.
try this
Shout
one
out.
more
Hey man.
time.
I love this.
Can you hear it?
Uh-uh.
Man, screw this.
Bloopers.
Because I don't know what I did different from last week to this week. I don't know what I did. Whatever it was.
Oh shit. Hold on. Damn.
But everything
Oh
else is
god.
coming through loud and clear.
Yeah. I hear you. You're like
Okay,
clear.
cool,
You know what's
cool.
crazy? This is better than last week because I feel like last week it was like a 5 second delay.
Yeah, we did have, it was something weird going on. I don't know what it
I heard it
was,
in the
but it was,
audio.
yeah, it
When I
was something
listened
weird
back,
going on last week.
it was like you would talk and then I would answer you, or like I'd be answering while you're talking or something, and it was like
Hmm.
a mean delay between when you heard it. Hold on, let
Yeah,
me
it
see.
was, it was like,
See if I
I
can get
don't know,
this.
like sometimes how you'll hear like I heard you, and then when I would go to like you would stop talking, I would start talking. It would be like a little pause or something like that.
God damn it, audio messed up my intro of what I. Matter of fact, I got you. I don't even know if it's gonna be loud. We gonna try this. Hold on.
No, Ms. Greenwood, we're not doing a Thanksgiving freestyle. Keyz might, but I'm not.
Oh, I ain't got nothing for y'all. Hold on, did I pause? Am I pausing on your screen? That's crazy.
I don't see you, but I hear it.
This is crazy.
I'm not sure. It's a holiday show, so it is liable to be anything going on today. But yeah, we're live for episode 8 of Sucio Sportz. It's Keyz and Jermaine once again.
The usual suspects.
The usual suspects. It was funny because as we were like prepping for the show, you sent me that text and you was like, "Hey, it really ain't that much to talk about."
Oh, there we go.
And, and I was like, "Wait a minute, it ain't that much to talk about." I was like, well, "Let me look again."
Nah, it really ain't, bro.
And I looked again and I was like, "You know what? Like,
That's why.
we normally have like a bunch of stuff, and then we'll have to cut it down to like, let's just hit these 4, 5, 6 topics or whatever."
There we go.
And this week it was like we had like a solid 2 or 3, and we were like, all right, what else?
And it was like a lot within that 2 or 3. Bro, I swear we just added like topics like 5 minutes before the show.
It was like you were thinking something. You know, oh wait, let me write this down on the rundown. Let me write this down on the rundown.
And it's crazy because it's literally like, all right, football. There's a lot within football. College football. There's a lot within college football.
Yes.
Little boxing stuff going on that we touched on last week, and then some stuff that happened.
Yeah.
But then it's like couple college basketball stories, nothing too crazy. Really just one. And then it's like the rest of it. So
yeah,
it's been a slow week for real. It's
kind
of been a slow weekend in sports. The F1 races this weekend. Did you watch F1 or do you watch F1?
I didn't see the race, but
I didn't either. To be honest, that's why I asked.
I saw some of the qualifying stuff.
I saw like whatever ESPN showed, but I didn't like watch myself. So I saw like who won and stuff like that. So
yeah, I think my son, he went to work that morning or whatever, or because he normally will like remind me about like F1 or some the Grand Prix of Le Mans, all that kind of stuff. Like he'll be watching it, or 24 hours of Le Mans I'm talking about. I'm saying the Grand Prix. I'm getting it all mixed up, but he'll normally remind me of stuff like that. He didn't, so I kind of missed it. But
I watch NASCAR, but I'm not really big on like the other car races. So
yeah,
I try to get into it. But F1 looked dope though. I like it because it's a little faster, and I just like the way the cars just look better.
Yeah, and the cars have a real sleek look. And the other thing with F1 is that they don't just go in the circle. They have like twists and turns, and they have some straights, but there's a lot of like, curves, twists, turns, left and right. So it makes it a lot more interesting.
It definitely does. What else was this weekend that I didn't really watch? It's a lot of World Cup stuff going on, like
qualifiers and friendlies.
Yeah, it's a lot of that going on right now.
Yeah,
it's a couple. It's actually a few. Argentina and Brazil playing tonight. That's a big one. Messi playing for Argentina. Ahan was telling me earlier. Neymar and Vinicius Jr. is out for Brazil, so that's major.
Wow,
very major. So
yeah, it's a lot of it's a bunch of different little stuff going on.
Yeah, but like I said, nothing like super, like nothing crazies went on where it's like, what I mean, you gotta cover it. Like nothing too crazy.
Right. Like that week, it was we made sure we mentioned the Dre Lax. Shout out to Dre. He in the chat too. They had the PLL home teams. Like there was every week the last few weeks, there has been something outside of like the normal big 3, big 4 of sports or whatever that was newsworthy for us to speak on. But this week we just didn't see anything outside of the normal big things of sports. And typically when we kick it off with the topics, we always start off with football because it's football season, specifically NFL.
Foosball.
Foosball, Bobby.
Gotta love that foosball.
Gotta
Foosball,
love
Bobby.
that foosball, Bobby.
I love playing foosball, mama. The foosball and with the football. And I'm really good at the
But
foosball, mama.
we just had week 11 in the
Week
NFL.
11. Man, a lot
Uh,
happened.
Joe
Thursday
Burrow
kicked
is
off.
out for the season.
Man, we lost that NFC. Well, we'll just start at that. I mean, AFC. That AFC North went from being like, to be honest, the best division in football. It looked like right now to they done flip flop to like they
Possibly the
still could be the
worst.
best. I ain't gonna
Nah, I'm
lie.
not gonna say the
So
worst. I'm just
no,
tripping.
no,
I'm
no.
just messing with y'all.
I'm about to say
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say that either because the way the quarterback for the Browns, the rookie that's came in for Deshaun,
Mm-hmm.
be it being a rookie, I mean we could see another Brock Purdy type of thing. Like like young boy played really great against the Steelers. The Steelers defense is one of the top, even though like their record doesn't show it. Defensively, they're one of the top defensive teams in the league right now, and
Yeah.
he seemed very poised and like he was ready for the moment. You know what I mean? No
Dorian Thompson
nerves,
Robinson.
no. Yes, DCR,
He
DTR.
went
Yes,
24 of 43 for only 165 yards. But
but I
but
feel like he ain't got to do much though with that offense, with the running game. That defense
with
is
that
lit.
defense, exactly.
Yeah. And we've talked
Exactly.
about that before. When you've got a defense like that and you're a second, third string quarterback coming in, you just got to minimally game manage. They're not
Yep.
asking you to go out and throw for 200-300 yards. If you do, great,
Yep.
awesome. But
Exactly.
150 to 200, cool. We got a running game, pass that, toss that bitch back.
Yeah,
That's
we
about
don't
it
need you. We don't need you to be Superman. We don't need you to be
at
Superman. We
all.
just need you to play within yourself. If you can play within yourself, like we're good.
I
That's all
think
we
the
need you to
issue
do.
I think the issue more or less comes in with the Bengals because do you shut down Jamar Chase now? Do you trust the backup to get y'all there in the playoffs? Because Burrow's done for the season and the off season. It's not like he could come back if y'all make the playoffs. Like they totally shut him down. So do
Yeah,
you start
he's
shutting
done.
down
Done.
receivers now? Like do we let Jamar chill? Like are we still trying to win? Because they're there. Even though they're fourth in the division now, that division is so close. It's literally probably like a game that separates everybody in a
Mm-hmm.
sense. Like maybe two, a game or two, nothing crazy. So the Ravens did take a big leap with their win Thursday night, but it's still one of those things where it's what 7 weeks left, 6 weeks, six. We're going into week
Seven,
12, 6 weeks.
7, because we got week
Okay,
18.
seven.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So we got 7 weeks left where anything
Mm-hmm.
can happen in that 7 weeks where you could go from fourth to first in that division. So
Right.
it's crazy. You're down two quarterbacks. You have a Steelers quarterback who can't get it right. You have the Ravens that literally can just blow and take that division, like they currently are. And it's like, could all four still make the playoffs, or is it just the Ravens and maybe Cleveland at two? Because I like DCR. I like what I've seen in this two games. Because
Mm-hmm.
he came in for Deshaun the game before, and he was playing great. And then Deshaun they came back in and won it for him. And then this last game where he had the full reins and he won it. So
Yeah,
I like him though.
it's
I like what I
the
see.
the
I like what I
the
see.
the the thing that's going to be key for them is to continuously, like you said, keep that run game going with Kareem Hunt and those guys in the backfield. They're also going to their defense can't make mistakes. Like that defense
Nope.
can't have a game off, and it's twofold. Like you said, when you have a defense that good, you don't need that much from your quarterback. But at the same time, you're going to need that much more from your defense because their margin of error has gotten that much smaller. Conversely, like I see the same thing with a team like how the Chiefs used to be, how their defense wasn't that good, but that offense could score 40, and that offense knew, hey, we got to score at least 24-30 in order to win the game because the defense may give up 20 to
Yeah.
24. So we got to score at least 24-30 in order to win. So that margin of error starts to shrink, and it puts a little bit more pressure on the better side of your football team.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the other stuff that we saw this past week, um,
Danny DeVito got him a win, boy. Danny DeVito, boy.
hey man,
Shout out to Danny DeVito, living on his
I
mama couch.
I don't. That game was so weird because Sam Howell threw 3 picks.
Yeah, Howell didn't play like Howell. Howell should have, to be honest with you, man, I don't know what it was, but Howell wasn't playing like Howell. I had them winning. I had Washington winning, to be honest, pregame. So
Yeah,
that was my pick.
the
I was surprised by the
Cowboys.
Giants.
The Cowboys blew out the Panthers. That was to be expected.
That yeah, that won't close. That won't close at all.
The Jags blew out the Titans. And
I expected that though.
you
Honestly,
expected
I
that?
expected that. Yeah.
To me, honestly, when I looked at that game, I still think that the Titans, I still try to believe in the Titans defense. I try. But when they have games like this, it's hard for me to believe in that defense. Like, I know your offense isn't great right now, but it's still hard for me to believe in that defense when you just let the Jags just. I mean, Trevor Lawrence didn't have a problem finding guys open.
Mm-mm.
He was
At
23.
all.
I'm sorry, 24 of 32 for 262 and 2 touchdowns.
He was finding. He was hitting the receivers.
He hit one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 different guys caught a pass from Trevor Lawrence.
I think everything else went exactly how I thought it was going to go, except for the Chargers and Packers. Packers won by a field goal. Did not expect them to even be in that game, to be honest. But Bosa got hurt, and a couple other defensive backs got hurt. So that played a part in that Packer comeback a little bit. Lions
Yeah,
beat the Bears. I expected
Bosa's out for
that.
the season too.
Uh huh.
Yeah, that's a tough
Dolphins
one
beat
right
the
there.
Raiders. I expected Dolphins and Raiders. I expected just because Raiders are good, but it's still the Raiders. Like they're gonna play great for Antonio Pierce.
Mm-hmm.
I just think the Dolphins, of course, are a better team, and they showed that. Um,
It was
Lions and
actually
Bears.
their defense with Jalen Ramsey with that game-winning interception, even
Ramsey.
though the Dolphins turned it
Uh huh.
over 3 times. So
That defense
that
is gonna
Rams
save them a
game,
lot because Tua's gonna take a lot of chances because of the receivers he has.
uh
He has
huh,
that receiver. I love that receiver room. I think that's one
yes,
of the best receiver rooms in the league right now. To be honest, um,
definitely. Dre, I don't. Keys, do you have any stardom or situms for fantasy football as far as right now is concerned? I can't honestly,
starting my
Dre.
settings
I
for
don't.
fantasy.
I be trying to pay
Uh,
attention. I really do, but then I'll end up forgetting to set my lineup or something. And
I don't as of right now, but I'll keep an eye on the Twitter. That's for everybody. Um, Sucio
definitely,
Sports Twitter or X, whichever one you want to call it.
I
Uh,
gotta remember. I got a guy that I gotta start sending it to that account because I have it on my personal, but I always retweet it. But I gotta send it to the Sucio Sports. But Chris Dale, I believe it's at Mad Journalist with 2 D's. Give him a follow. Guy that I've worked with in the past. He's really, really good with fantasy football, and I'm gonna start retweeting his stuff from the send it over to our intern to do the social media stuff for the Sucio Sports. But we might have to
ass
fire that
intern.
intern too because he got a little spicy earlier.
Yeah, intern got to go, boy. Crazy.
Yeah, you how you talking shit, but you need us to graduate. Like, shut up and do your job.
It's crazy. Let me
That
see
you
what
would get
else.
ready to
What
say that
else?
Rams and Seahawks game.
I wasn't there yet, but yeah. I knew that was gonna be a close
Oh, I
game though.
skipped ahead. My bad. Yeah,
I
you're
did.
right.
No. You're fine. You're fine. I knew that was gonna be a close game though. I felt that was one of those games. When I was looking at who I was picking, I knew it
Hmm.
could go either way because they're both Seahawks are there, and I'm starting to see they might be a quarterback away now. But I like the way it's
Hmm.
more the defense. It's more the defense than the offense. So
Yeah.
um every guy there was no surprise to me. The 49ers and Bucks,
That
that with
went
that
about
new
as
40
expected.
yeah, that new 49er defense, it's expected. I don't think that defense is going to get tested until not next week, but the week after. When they play the Eagles. I think that's from what I've seen on their schedule, that's the test in a sense with that new look defense
Hmm.
is going to be that Eagle game, and we'll get to that after we talk about the Monday night game
But
and
check this out.
what I saw. But
Check this out. That Seahawks game, I think that game may give them trouble. And the only reason
the
why I
Eagles,
think that game may give them trouble is because it's Thanksgiving night. It's a short week.
who has the Seahawks this week?
That's what I'm saying. The
Oh, the 40.
49ers. They play them on
Oh, the
Thanksgiving night. That's what
49ers
I'm
do.
just yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nacho Buzz says what defense is
That
ass?
defense. The Niner defense? He only saying, all right, that's my baby brother. He's only he's only saying that because he's a Bucks fan and the Bucks are his. That's what he's saying.
Okay. We need the
I
context
understand.
on that. All right, bet.
Right,
But no,
right.
like when you know those Thursday night games are always they're a little weird.
On a short week. The Thanksgiving games are always weird on that short week because it's a lot. It's not just one team playing or two teams. It's six teams playing now.
Right.
So a lot of people, you got longer halftime, shorter than the Super Bowl, but longer, than normal.
Longer than normal, yeah.
So
Because it used to be
man,
just
I
the
think
Lions and Cowboys would play somebody in Dallas and then in Detroit. You would have those two
hmm
games, and that was it.
so now they added that. I think I like all three games though because honestly, the Packers are they show a lot. Honestly, the teams that you think could win, it could be three upsets. I could see the Packers beating the Lions. I honestly can see the Commanders beating the Cowboys. And I really, like you said, I can see the Seahawks catching the 49ers slipping. The only one I don't see
And
is
I
that
could
Jets
see
Dolphins on Friday. I
now
don't see
see
the Jets beating
that
the Dolphins
one.
at all.
The only way I could see the Jets upsetting the Dolphins in that game is if Miami has a bunch of turnovers like they just had against the Raiders, and the
If Sauce
Jets
playing,
turn those turnovers into touchdowns.
if
That
Sauce ain't playing,
I don't think we'll find out till maybe tomorrow. If
probably
they're playing
tomorrow.
Friday, we probably will find out tomorrow. Because typically 2 days before the game, like let's say if it was a Sunday game, we would find out Friday for sure. When you get
hmm
the injury report after practice, it's come down Friday sometime in the afternoon. Um, you'll typically see when who either practice, were they limited or were they a full participant, were they out, whatever it is, and that'll normally tell you like are they leaning towards playing or not. But that would be a major deal for the Jets defense if Sauce is not playing.
Yeah.
Um, that Saints Falcons game just got a lot more interesting because Derek Derek Carr is still in concussion protocol.
Ooh.
Michael Thomas is on the IR, and I believe Marshawn
Jameis is
Lattimore
starting,
may end up missing that game as well.
and then Jameis is starting.
But yeah, and James is starting.
Hey man, shout
It's
out to
like
Jameis, man. Y'all, I know as Saints fans, y'all give him hell, but I like Jameis, man. Shout out to Jameis.
I mean, James is cool, but honestly, I'm gonna get into that when I get into my rant because that was a part of it, and I bookmarked the tweets, so you know I'm gonna be
hmm
extra petty tonight.
Let's
But
let me finish running through the Cardinals and
preview.
Texans. I know you probably
Oh,
watched more of
oh,
that game than I
yes, I
did.
did.
Um,
Let me go back to that because yeah, that was
And like we said, Cowboys Panthers. We knew how that was going to go.
Yep.
Giants Commanders was the shocker. Um, and then we'll get into the Monday night once, or the Sunday and Monday after you recap that Texans Cardinals.
It was crazy because in that one game, Stroud threw more interceptions than he's thrown all season.
Mhm.
like I wrote the article. It went to out today on Houston.sportsmap.com where you can find all my stuff. Um, about how the basically like a rookie report. What the Texans rookies have been doing since I'm based in Houston. But before coming into that game, he had a 7.5 to 1 touchdown to interception ratio. That's unheard of. Usually you want to be bare minimum 2 to 1, preferably 3 to 1.
Mhm.
He was at 7.5 to 1 because he had 15 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. After this game, he now has 17 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So his ratio is down to 3.4 to 1, which is still really, really good. It was just really uncharacteristic of him. And they still found a way to win that game. Defense stepped up. Derek Stingley Jr. had a really good interception on a ball that Kyler Murray kind of hung out there. He went deep. I believe it was to Hollywood Brown on this one play, or Rondell Moore. It was one of those two little small, quick receivers, and Stingley made a great play on that ball. But that team is really coming around. They're really fun to watch. They're actually playing for sole possession of first place this coming week against the Jags in Jacksonville. So that's going to be a real test for this team. And
That's gonna be interesting.
yeah, that's one of the matchups this coming week that I was really interested in. Not just because I'm based in Houston and I have to write about the Texans a lot, just because that's a matchup where you literally have a division that's been kind of cast to the side, and the two teams who've ruled it lately, the Colts and the Titans, are down this year, whereas the Texans and the Jaguars, they're on the up and up this year. They're literally playing for first place in that division, which also determines some playoff seeding as well. So that has a lot riding on it.
In a wide open AFC, but we'll talk about that too.
Oh man! So speaking of the AFC, it just got a little bit tighter with that Monday night game. The Chiefs fell at home to the Philadelphia
Well, hold on,
Eagles.
hold on. Before we get into that and my excitement, Vikings and Broncos,
Ah,
very great game. I watch. Yeah, because I know how you feel.
it
I
was a good
It was a
game.
great game.
It was a good game.
It was the defense. Josh Dobbs came down. Game was won. Game was won. He came down. He drove him down. He scored. Game was won. He did his job. The defense let him down. He
Hey,
did his job. 2 weeks in a row because we looked at the same thing with Baker. Not 2 weeks, but we saw the same thing with Baker and Stroud.
yep.
Baker came down. Baker had the game won. Baker was on the Baker was on the bench chilling, feet up, kick back like, what's up? Goddamn defense just let him down. He went from back to like,
Bruh, the funniest
and
thing
Dobbs was the same, man.
was being at that game and they showed Baker's face on the big screen.
Hey, bro, I'd be pissed off. I'm
I
not gonna
can't
lie.
remember. Like
Y'all
I
want me to
know
be
I
the leader?
saw it. I know I saw it on the TV screen in the press box, but I think that I want to say I can't remember if they showed it on the big screen in the stadium or not. But that was hilarious.
Let me
What's
tell you
up,
something.
Jay? That's my homeboy I
Let
grew
me
up with.
let me tell you something, man. Like, you want me to be a locker room leader? Oh yeah, I'm cussing all you niggas out, dog. All you niggas. I don't care.
Bruh.
What defense? I don't care. Hey, dog, I'm cussing all y'all out. I just did all this. Us on the offense, not just me. The entire offense just did all this work to put us in position, and the game was won. It was in our hands, and y'all
Yep.
going. That's how I feel about this Broncos win, and that looked like
Oh,
Russ. That was the Russ, and I was in the chat, me and Dre.
Yep.
That was the
Y'all was
Russ that
talking about it.
everybody has been waiting to see all season,
Yep.
or since he got there, even last year. That was the
I
Russ
mean,
that got the money. And he did exactly what
I
he was supposed to do. That's Russ. He's the vet. He did the vet thing. He
yeah.
came down and won the game.
I was going back and forth with this guy on Facebook because not what Russ is doing like lately is because like they made it seem like this has always been him and people have doubted him and all this other crap, right? And it's like, bro, Russ
Mm,
is having a decent season this season. But the last couple of seasons, last year in Denver and his last like 2 years or so in Seattle,
uh-huh.
Russ was the cause of a lot of the issues with those teams. So don't sit up here and act like Russ has just been this great quarterback and just this model of consistency. Because I promise you, Denver Bronco fans, like, look, Dre's in the chat right now talking about it. Um, that he has been inconsistent. And that's the thing that's been so frustrating about watching a talent like him. Like you've seen him do it, and you've seen him perform on a major level, and you've seen him like carry his team and will his team to win and come back and do things like that. He's starting to do some of that this year because they've had some tight games that they've pulled out lately, especially on this little streak that they were on, that they're on right
Mm-hmm.
now. But it's like, dude, don't act like the start of the season was not on him. Don't act like last year in Denver wasn't on him, or the last couple of years in Seattle wasn't on him. Like,
Was
yes,
that last
that was
season in
on him.
Denver on Russ? Was that on Russ though? Last season?
I'm gonna put it to you like this: when Russ has a clear lane to run for a first down and he doesn't
I'm with
run,
Jay. I don't think Russ
and
the
then
problem.
he not only on top of that don't rush for the first down, but then throws an incompletion when he had other options that were open, plus running for the first down, like you start to see the bad decision making over and over and over. That's what I'm talking about. But hey, I mean, people see it. Y'all may not want to see it, but people see it.
I don't think Denver was where he should have went. And I said that when he waived his trade clause and everything. I did not think Denver was where I didn't think Denver was where they were gonna send him, to be honest, but I didn't think Denver was where he should have went. I understood it. I saw it. I like what
Mm-hmm.
they have. I like the young weapons, the running game, the receivers. I like Sutton. I like Judy. Some it's another receiver they got. But I like the offense. I just don't like that O line.
Mm-hmm.
And until they put like anything, until you put money into your O line to protect your quarterback,
Yep.
you'll never have a Tom Brady.
But here's the thing:
I I
he had a
always put it like
subpar
that.
O
Like
line. He had a
with
subpar O
Seattle.
line for most of the time he was up there in Seattle.
And
Not all the
he
time,
was
but for most of the
but I
time.
think it was because he was younger and younger Russ could run. This is we looking at older Russ now. Older Russ ain't running like young Russ. I was watching the pivot today and the Mike Vick episode was up and Vick was talking about that. He was talking about the difference between the Atlanta Mike Vick and the
Mm-hmm.
Philly Mike Vick.
Mm-hmm.
He said the Philly, even though the Philly Mike Vick was the one coming off of 2 years at Leavenworth, but it was still 2 years removed from being the Atlanta Mike Vick, where he was
Right.
electric, he was lightning, he was pew, pew. He got the Philly and became a pocket passer. He still ran. Don't get me wrong, because I got the highlights. There was some runs where he broke them and pew, but he just won't that Mike Vick anymore. You know what I mean? I think it's the same with Russ. Russ ain't moving the same. He's becoming or trying to become that pocket passer now in his older years.
And I mean, he's still. This is the thing, though. Even though he doesn't move as well as he used to, he still moves very well for a quarterback. Very well for a quarterback. And I still think that he still has something left in the tank to prove. It's just a matter of him making some better decisions and stuff because he's starting to like this season. I'm seeing where I guess he's buying in more of what Sean Payton is wanting to do as far as the play calls and everything else is concerned. So I'm just wondering, like, is it going to be one of those things where he's going to buy in? They decided not to trade Sutton or Judy or anybody else and keep the team together pretty much. Uh, they could have traded Surtan as well, but they kept everybody together, and here they are, 5-5. Now, looking at the standings,
I was praying they gave us 13.
oh man, that would have been OD if the Eagles would have got Surtan. Because honestly, I think one of the best things that could have happened to Jordan Davis was getting Jalen Carter there. Because now you see Carter playing next to Fletcher Cox and whatnot, and Davis is over there on the sideline like, what the hell? Well, big boy, they would have gotten rid of that high price vet had you stepped up.
And he's
But
been playing great. Don't get me wrong. He's
yeah,
definitely been playing better. But Jalen Carter, since preseason, since camp, has been out playing him. And I wanted to work for both of them to play together because this might be Fletcher's last run. He might got one more in him next year. But either way, we need Jordan Davis to step up into that role because when Fletcher's leaving and he's gone, but I like that he's able to. I always like when you can sit back and learn because that vet is playing like Brandon Graham. Him and Graham are
mm-hmm.
playing lights out.
Yep,
Them old guys is playing lights out, and I love it because the people behind them get to watch and see. They get game tape, live game tape to learn, to watch, to look at the footwork, the hand, the movements, the swim moves, how
right,
they beating people off the line. So I like that for Jordan Davis at the same time though. So that way when
yeah.
it's his time, he's ready.
That's
Which
why
is
I
Jay
like.
because I think him and Jalen are gonna be those D tackles in the middle. I think they're gonna be our hosses in the
I,
middle.
I definitely think so, but it's
Nakobe
just
Dean is
that
coming into his own. I love
that
the way
passing
Nakobe
down
Dean
of the
is playing.
knowledge, that
That's
passing
major.
down of the knowledge is huge, is huge.
Because Fletcher even
But
said, whether you playing for Philly or this isn't your what I mean, your last stop, wherever you going to next.
mhm,
He's I remember I watched the interview where he said it, and he said exactly what you said. Like I'm teaching them, I'm giving him knowledge for the future, stuff he can
mhm,
take with him on to his next stop, like whether it's here or somewhere else. And he said the same thing about Jalen Carter. He said I'm giving them both. I'm giving them
yeah,
that knowledge, whether it's for here or somewhere else.
and I
So
love that when a vet, especially what I see it more in linemen, receivers sometimes. You'll see like the most famous one I remember was when Randy Moss got drafted to Minnesota, and there was Jake Reed and Chris Carter there. Um, I always loved how you saw how like back in the '80s, how Joe Montana and Steve Young kind of had that. Not they didn't have the best, but you could see that there was some chemistry there. Um, right now in Dallas, for example, with Micah Parsons being there with DeMarcus Lawrence. Um,
yes, yeah,
some other linemen that I remember, like I remember when the Saints drafted Ryan Ramchick, and there was Teron Armstead there. But then before him, like there was just like this succession of like older linemen mentoring the younger linemen. But I love that when I see that in the NFL and sports in general, just because you see that knowledge being passed along to some of these younger guys, and some of these younger guys are like in awe of these vets. And these vets, try to pass that knowledge down to them to kind of keep things going and whatnot.
nah, definitely, and um,
So
transitioning to Eagles.
that because I was getting ready to say that loss by Kansas City actually drops them to
Oh,
second place in the AFC, and Baltimore is now in control of the number one seed. And that's
and
important
lucky
because
for
only the one seed gets a bye now in the playoffs since
only,
there's 7 teams.
but oh, did the Chiefs get to buy last year? Were they number one last year?
You know what? Let me flip the page real quick and see
I'm trying to remember
because,
because I
but yes,
don't
they were.
think they were.
No, they were.
They
They
were
were the
okay.
one seed last year. Yeah,
So that's
because the
major for
Bills
them
and
because I don't
the
think
Bills
they've
was
gone.
two and the Bengals were three.
So I don't think they've gone to time where they haven't been uh a number one going
Let me
into the
see.
playoffs. So that number one seed is
21.
big for
No,
them.
21. Wait, was it? Yeah, 21. They were the two seed because the Titans had beat them head to head that year. They were the two seed. Both of those teams were 12 and 5 in 2021.
Mm.
And the Titans won that head to head matchup that year, so they had the one seed that year. That was the
Was
last
and I think
time the
was that
Chiefs were a two
was
seed. I believe in 20 they were
but
the
I
one
think
seed. Yep, 20
so
they were the one seed.
I'm gonna say this, and I said this at the beginning of the season that the Chiefs are very beatable. Um Last
Yes.
night showed it, and Shannon Sharp said no, Ocho said something that last night that I thought about and I was like, because I when I'm watching the game, I'm thinking about what I'm gonna say on the show, of course, knowing that we're recording the next day. And
Hmm.
when Ocho said this, I was like, it factors into a lot. The weather last night factored into a
Played a
lot
huge
because
deal.
there were a lot of drop balls on the Chiefs side with that receiving core. But
Yep.
I said going into the season, even though they got McCole Hardman back, losing him was major. Losing Juju was major because they have no receivers. They went out and got Tony, which is fine. Kadarius Tony he's been great for them all
I just
season.
had an Amber Alert on my
Oh wow.
phone.
Did I-
Yeah, I think it was an Amber, just some emergency alert. So, but
But yeah,
yeah.
there's that receiving. I don't like that receiving room.
But you know the thing with that receiving room is
It's a bunch of
you
number
no longer
threes.
have
It's a bunch of number threes.
you no longer exactly, you don't
There's
have
no.
that
They
alpha
don't even have
dog
any
where it's
number
like
twos.
we gotta double that guy. The guy that you have is your tight end, but you
And when
need that wide receiver one. Like if you have that, the one of the best tight ends, arguably the best tight end in the game.
but when
If
he's
you have
off
that
like
other
he
wide
was last
receiver,
night,
if you have that other wide receiver, it makes it that much better and it opens up that much more for your offense. Because now not only is the middle of the field going to open up because it's like, okay, what do we do with Kelsey? But now
and that's when
it's
they killed us
also,
last night.
Tyreek is over here and he could blow the top off the defense.
Yep.
What do we do?
But that's I'm gonna be honest. That's where everybody was the people that were stepping up last night. That's where they killed the Eagles was in the middle of the field. Patrick was picking them apart in the middle of the field. The run game, they kept getting away from the run game when I'm gonna be honest, watching the game, they should have stuck with the run game. Same thing on the Eagles side. Swift was running, and every time they get away from Swift running and they give the ball to somebody else, and I get it, you got to spread it around. But if he's hot, why stop giving him the ball?
Yeah, last night
So
Swift averaged 6.3 a carry on 12 carries.
Swift has been different since he got to Philly. Different,
Yeah.
and I love it personally as an Eagles fan. I love it, but I just they need to give him the ball more. It kills me. He did have that one fumble, um,
Hmm.
but at the same, but I still overall that was their game to win. New once again, what is that? 2 weeks in, 2 games in a row for us where the other team should have won. Dallas should have beat us.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I don't know if there's any Eagles fans watching and they said nothing. Uh, the Eagles should have beat. I mean the Dallas should have beat them.
Hmm.
Um, they chance after chance that they fumbled away the opportunities. And same thing with last night. Um, there was at least I counted 3, maybe 4 different plays that were clear touchdowns had they caught the ball.
Yeah, Marquez
Especially that
Valdez
Marquez.
Scantling.
Yeah,
Whew.
that one was on him.
I
Solely
felt
on
bad for
him.
him, man.
It wasn't overthrown. It was thrown perfectly. That point
Yep.
five put that He put it exactly where he needed to put it. But like Shannon said, that those over the shoulder catches, yeah, I said point 0.5. Those over the shoulder catches have to be on point. They have to be, but it I don't know, man. My coach always told me if your fingertips or your hands touch it, you got to catch it.
You gotta catch
You
it.
got to catch
Exactly.
it. And
You
but
gotta
it
hold
won't
on
just
to
on
that
him.
ball, man.
That was a major play at the end of the game, but there were other plays leading up to that that they could have easily been way more ahead than they were had people caught balls not dropped. Um,
The
because
Chiefs'
I don't,
longest completion last night was 17 yards.
yeah, like I don't think Mahomes overthrew anybody. Like he was very, very surgical with everything that he threw last night. It was just that second half that defense stepped up. Defense
Yeah.
did exactly what we do best. We made adjustments. I
And
loved
you
it.
could tell, like, you could tell some of that inaccuracy last night, like in polar opposites. He threw the ball 43 times, completed 24. Hurts threw the ball 22 times and completed 14. So Hurts was way more compact and efficient, whereas Mahomes was throwing the ball all over the yard. But here's the thing: they had let's just say between their two running backs, Pacheco and Edwards-Helaire, 21 carries for 109 yards. To me, to me, if between my two running backs, mainly Pacheco, 19 for 89, that's a 4.7 average. If I got a running back averaging 4.7 a carry in that kind of weather, we just about to play ugly football tonight. We just gonna play ugly
I'm giving
football.
them the ball.
Exactly. It's working. Why go away from that?
But you know what the problem is? The problem is the same thing with it's the Brady problem that New England had where it didn't matter who was in the backfield, Brady's gonna throw that ball. It don't matter how well
Yep.
you're running, Brady's gonna throw that ball. The Chiefs are in that same thing where it doesn't matter how good the run game is. The people came to see Mahomes throw that ball. They paid the
Yeah.
money for Mahomes to throw that ball. They're gonna
Right.
throw that ball.
Yeah. It's I mean, it is what it is. The Eagles
And the
they
Eagles are the same
maintain
way.
they're in but see, here's the thing. The difference that I see between those two teams, the Eagles will commit to the run and the Eagles
Hmm.
will maul you, not just with the push play. They will line up
Brotherly
and run
shove.
some power run plays and will
Yeah.
just run over you and let that offensive line run block all game if they need to.
And
But
that's
they'll
with
also line up in
Boston.
the spread and throw the ball around and whatnot. Here comes Grum, another Eagles fan.
Go
Sloan,
Birds.
I hope that me too is you sensing my frustration with these two Eagles fans right here because they gonna try to
No,
take over the show.
I think his was about me calling Mahomes a point 0.5,
Oh
which
yeah.
is I got from him. Which I got from him.
Yes.
Shout out to that point 0.5.
Yes.
I
Shout out
still
to
like him.
Sloan.
I like that point 0.5. He's probably my second favorite quarterback in the league behind Jalen. Because Jalen's the best. Anyway,
Here we go.
hey
Next
man,
week.
look, 9-1, right? I'm bragging until like somebody beats us. And to be honest, if you really look back at every week, we I think the only game where yep, I said it. Yep, this week you can hit the button all you need to this week. This week you can keep your finger on it. I ain't done. The only game where I felt like it was super dominant all out of everything to me was the Miami game. That's been the only one where it was like it was just dominance from beginning to end. Everything else, we've given teams chances to beat us, and only one team actually did it. So 9-1, it says a lot.
Yeah, I
And this
mean,
is and we
they're
talked about this. This is a big win going into that tough part of this schedule. These next 4, maybe 5, because Seattle's not a cakewalk. But and I'll throw them in that. These next 4 to 5, well now four games now after this week, are tough. They're very tough games.
I
Bill
mean, you
was
got
is
the
it Bills this week?
Bills, the 49ers, the Cowboys. I don't know if y'all heard that phone ring. That's my mama calling me.
Hey, mama.
I don't know what she want, but I had to text her and let
But
her know,
yeah,
like, hey, I'm recording right now.
but yeah, going into these next 4 games, Bills game tough. 40. I mean, the Bills game is still going to be tough because there's still a team that at any time can turn it on. That 49ers, that new 49ers defense.
Yeah,
And then Dallas.
man, that
We know
that
what we're gonna get
defense
with
is
Dallas.
nasty.
I
That
said me, the 49ers and Dallas are gonna be the toughest out of all of them because this Chiefs one was tough. The Bills, I don't see the Bills being tough. I just think it's gonna be a good game. But the
hey man,
49ers and
don't
the
take them Bills
Cowboys,
lightly.
I I got the 49ers and Cowboys being tougher just because NFC rival games, 49ers, just like this last one, they're out for revenge from last year. We were out for revenge on the Chiefs. Cowboys are out for revenge from 2 weeks ago. Like those two games are going to be the toughest where they're going to play us the hardest. It's
Yeah,
going to be some hard hitting.
it's
I'm going to
gonna
love it
be
though.
it's gonna be good, but the thing that I like the most is when you get like these mid to late season divisional games, like
Hmm.
that Green Bay Detroit game. What happens like if Green Bay end up upsetting Detroit? What happens if Dallas gets upset by Washington? If like them 3 games, those all 3 Thanksgiving games are divisional games. You know what happens if the Falcons beat the Saints? And now the Saints thought that they were going to be able to control the division, and now they got some injuries. Now it's like, oh crap! What
But we
happens if
said that about that division. That division is
it's still up for
Atlanta.
grabs? It's
Yeah,
still
Atlanta
up for
still looks
grabs.
pretty okay. Bucks still are there. Yeah, the
Tampa
Saints are
has the
there.
talent on both sides of the ball to win that division.
Yeah,
They have the
they
talent
do.
on both
I think
sides
they
of the
have the
ball to win that
most.
division.
I think they have the most talent on both sides. Healthy talent at that. I like
Exactly.
Atlanta. I like Atlanta. I just think
Bro,
I don't think
it's
I still do
inexplicable.
not think I don't like Ritter. I don't think Ritter's the answer. I think you ride with Heineke for the rest of the season. I think
In the
Heineke gives,
Saints,
in
you
my
can say the
personal
same thing
opinion,
about the Saints. You can say the same
I
thing about the
ride
Saints. That team has
at
way
this
too much
point.
talent on both sides of the ball.
At this point, ride with Jameis. Ride with Jameis, man.
It's like to me, and I can't wait to get to my rant. So we're gonna close out NFL on this and move on. But it's like there's so much going on in the league right now.
Hmm.
And like with the picture's starting to clear itself up, but the more it clears up, the more it muddles up because you're starting to see what teams are probably not going to make the playoffs and what teams are going to definitely, be they need to start scouting the draft. But everybody else, I mean, like when I looked at the standings again just now, like even these two 4-6 teams in the AFC, or I'll say these two teams below 500. Or could you see the 5-6 Raiders or the 4-6 Chargers making the playoffs in the AFC?
I could see the Raiders.
Mind you, the 5, 6, 7 seeds in the AFC are the Browns, the Texans, and the Steelers.
I could see the Raiders possibly. Yeah, I could see both. Because, like we said, with
Okay.
the Browns and the Steelers are, yeah.
Now remember, we just talked
Texans.
about
I like the
the
Texans' chance.
me too, me too. We just talked about the NFC South. And we talked about how the Falcons and the Bucks and the Saints all have way too much talent on both sides of the ball. All these teams should be, better than what they are. That means we have faith that the 4-6 Falcons or the 4-6 Bucks could potentially make the playoffs in the NFC. And right now, your 5, 6, 7 seeds in the NFC are the Cowboys, Seahawks, and Vikings.
Hmm.
it's a little bit more. See that this is what I'm saying. Like we look at them as possibly winning that division because the Saints at the 4 seed are 5-5. They're currently in the lead of that division simply because they're right at 500. But those other two teams are clicking on their heels at 4-6, and the Saints and the Falcons play this week. It, football is just so much fun and just so beautiful. I just love it.
It really
It
is though.
and
It
we're
definitely is.
we're getting so much, like we're even when we look at college football, what we're getting right now. And I'm gonna say specifically with the last season officially of the Pac-12, and you have Washington and Oregon right there, just like I mean, just they're two of the best teams in the country. And according to the new
Yeah.
CFP, Washington is
Somebody
now in
stuck
at the fourth
into.
seed.
I love it. DJ hates it, but we told him strength of schedule. Strength of schedule always plays a factor, bro. And we said this weeks ago when we were in the
Yep.
chat, when we were in Discord talking about this.
Yep.
Strength of schedule plays a major part. And Washington or Oregon have a better strength of schedule. And Florida State just lost a quarterback for the rest of the season. Even though the backup came in and
Yeah.
played lights out. So there might be hope there. But they lost their strength, I'll say, for the rest of the season. Now we got to see what his backup can do with the last game of the season in the ACC championship game, where they potentially could lose one or both. Potentially, they could also win both. So defense is still defense. That defense is very good. So
So I'm looking
is
at it
it?
right now,
And if
and
I'm correct, Washington and Oregon will they end up playing each other in the Pac-12, or is the Pac-12 split up
give me
between
one
North and South
second. Let me
now?
look it up. I don't think so. I gotta pull it back up again. But I was looking at the
I had it.
SOR rankings, and I had those pulled up because it's one of the metrics that they use in the college football playoff. Now, when you look at
Washington.
that SOR ranking, you have Washington first, Ohio State is second, Michigan is third, Florida State is four, Georgia is five, Texas
I
is
can under,
six. That's how they're ranked with that particular ranking right there.
so
One of the
Washington
other, the
has
football power index. Let me see that the
Washington
FPI.
has Washington State. Oregon has um so as of right now, from what it shows, Oregon
Mhm.
is not in the Pac-12 championship. I'm not sure if it's going to come down to the Oregon State game or not. Washington is showing even with their next game is there. Trying to look who else in the Pac-12 is at the top, so that way I can kind of gauge it. Washington, Oregon. The next closest team is Arizona. Let's see. I know Arizona's not there at 8-3, but I feel like they do North and South still with the Pac-12. Nah, I don't
Yeah,
think they do.
it's
I think it's just showing that Washington is clear that they're there.
let me see.
Because Arizona would be in South then if they were still doing North and South. I know they used to do that with the Pac-12. It used to be like a North-South thing because they had so many
Yeah, they
teams.
used to, but I think they did away with it. And give me one second. I'm about to pull it up right now.
Because if that's the
I'm
case,
looking for the standings.
if that's the case, Oregon and
Okay,
oh wow,
so
Pac-12 standings. Here you go. Yeah, so it's just Pac-12. It's
yeah,
not
they
split up
did
or
away
anything.
with the they did
So
away
I'm
with the
guessing
north south
I'm
thing.
I'm guessing if Oregon wins their next game, which is Oregon State, that would put them in the because Washington has Washington State, which should be a layup for them. But it would be Washington and Oregon playing for the Pac-12 championship. which would cancel, which in a sense, and I love these cancel games, that would take one of them out of the contention in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
We still got Michigan and Ohio State this weekend, which loser is out of contention altogether because I don't think they would end up playing. I think they do East and West for the Big 12, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
whoever
For
loses that,
The Big Ten does the.
I mean Big Ten,
It
yeah.
is the. Let me scroll back up. It's the East and West. So we're
So that
looking
would
at
take
the winner
whoever
would play
loses is
Iowa.
in the championship. I was gonna say is in the championship, and they don't even get a chance. They really don't even get a chance to get back in a sense. They gotta hope people fall and lose in a
Yep.
sense for them to get back. But that's if it's a close game. If it's a close game, I don't think the other team drops far. If it's a blowout, that other team is gonna drop pretty far. So I got Ohio State winning that game though. But I love Michigan has some, and I hate to say it because I'm an Ohio State fan, but Michigan has some dogs, and it's gonna be. I'm gonna definitely be watching. I gotta see. I think that's a prime time. I hope they didn't give them an early slot. That would be stupid to give them like a 12 o'clock or something like that. That's definitely
Yeah,
a
I don't
Saturday
think they
night game.
did. I don't think they did them like that. But
Yeah,
I think Michigan Ohio State is typically like an 11 a.m. kickoff though. Like I
it's
want to
usually
say
like a 12 o'clock.
yeah, I want to say
Uh,
that's their normal kickoff from what I can remember. Give me one second. I'm about to pull it up right now. They are
I just had it up. What
yeah,
did
it's
I do
11
with it?
a.m. Yeah, it's 11 a.m.
Ooh. All right. First off, I'm gonna be at work, so I'm about to be pissed off. Uh,
Chaos!
man,
Chaos!
it's utter chaos. That's crazy.
Did it work
I'm
that
definitely
time?
not gonna be doing. Yeah, it did. I'm definitely not gonna be
Okay,
at
I know
work
what I
now.
did wrong then.
Oh, it is a
I figured it
12.
out.
Man, they gotta move that. They gotta
But
move that. It's
but
too big.
look,
It's too big of a game for that to happen early like that though.
look. What you do is
Ah,
um, you get your cable provider and you stream it on your phone
no,
through
I mean
your
I know
cable
I can do that.
provider app.
Oh no, I do that anyway, and I just walk around with
But
my
you want to
AirPods in.
watch,
But
sit down and watch the
that's
game.
still, yeah. I might be hiding in the break room, man. Or I'm gonna put it on. I know how to change. I'm gonna just change the channel. I'm gonna definitely have that on in the break room. They're gonna be looking for me, and I'm gonna be out of there.
But yeah, that's going to be the thing with Florida State. And I kind of missed the tail end of it, but they were talking to one of the committee members that did the CFP, and they just said that they're going to be monitoring Florida State and blah 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 and how they play and perform and this that and the third. You know,
Yep,
basically
yep.
just saying like if they look like they take a step back, then we got to get them up out of there. Now, what'll be really interesting, and the reason why I hit the chaos drop, shout out to Cal, is from Black Wrestling for that drop. But if Florida State stumbles, right? Let's say Michigan beats
Right.
Ohio State. Michigan loses to Iowa. Georgia loses to Alabama in the SEC title game.
I say Oregon beats
Beats
Washington
Washington,
in the
or Washington
Pac-12.
loses in the Pac 12. Then we got a bunch of one loss teams.
Gets interesting there.
Oh, buddy, does it? It gets real interesting. Because I'm talking
I
about
like when it's like that. They've had that. I forgot how many years back it was, but wasn't it where like was Alabama, was it the last time Alabama lost and they were still number one? And it was like a bunch of,
they
I
wait a
can't think of
minute.
what year it was.
I know
It was either Alabama was undefeated, and then it was like a bunch of one-loss teams after that.
it was something weird.
Because it was the year everybody was mad Ohio State didn't make it in.
Okay, that was a year where no,
It was at 19. It was before the pandemic, I believe.
I think there were two undefeateds and like three one loss teams or four one loss teams, something like that.
And
And
they were
one of
fighting for
those
3 and 4.
teams
They were trying to
in
figure out who
Ohio
was getting three
State
and four.
was the third one loss team that got left out of the CFP. It was something like that. I can't remember what year you're
Yeah.
talking about, but I do know what I do know what you're referencing because I do remember it was one team that got booted or got left out because they were the fifth team out of the four that particular year, and everybody was going. I mean, going into that last vote, I remember everybody was saying somebody's gonna get screwed. Somebody's gonna get screwed.
Yeah.
We all knew it. We saw it coming. There's nothing you can
I
do.
feel
You
like it was a
play who's on your
Pac-12 team.
schedule, and you go from there. No, the Pac-12 has never even made the CFP.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I know it wasn't them because they've been like
Uh,
they made if they made it, it was like maybe the early days with those Oregon teams with Mariota. But I don't even think we had to see. I think we still had something else back then. Anyway, but it's it. I just want to
okay.
see the
It was.
chaos unfold.
So it was 2019. That was the year. It was LSU and Clemson were at the top. LSU was 15-0. Clemson was
Mm-hmm.
14-1. Ohio State was 13-1. And it was Georgia and Oregon and Florida and Oklahoma and Alabama fighting at the bottom. And everybody was hoping that Alabama somehow jumped up from 8 to like 4 to get in. Because there was a lot of two-loss teams. It wasn't one. Because Ohio State was in at 3. It was a fight at 4. I knew it was 19. I just couldn't remember the teams, but it was that year that everybody wanted Oregon to get in instead of Georgia, and Georgia got in because strength of schedule matters,
Mm-hmm.
and their two losses were smaller losses compared to Oregon's two bigger losses. And I believe it was the same thing with Florida, Oklahoma, and of course Alabama that year, and Penn State. Because Penn State was at 9 at 11-2 with Alabama. Oklahoma was 12-2, and Florida was 11-2. Georgia was 12-2. What the final numbers? They were like 11 and whatever at the time, but yeah, that's what it was. And Georgia ended up getting in because of strength of schedule. But everybody thought that year Oregon was actually the better team that should have got in. And
Mm-hmm.
when Georgia
I
played,
tell you what,
they lost.
we got rivalry week coming up. I just pulled up the strength of schedule. This is how we're gonna demonstrate to people how strength of schedule matters. You read off the first team in the CFP, like one through, let's just say 1 through 4, just the first four, and I'm gonna read off their strength of
Hmm.
schedule. Ready whenever you are.
So we had. Hold on, let me go back. All right, so we got Georgia.
Georgia's number one, strength of schedule
Yeah.
rank 65.
Ohio State.
Ohio State, number two in the CFP, strength of schedule 45.
Mm. Michigan.
Michigan, number three in the CFP, strength of schedule 59.
And then Washington.
Washington, number four, pulling up the rear in the CFP, strength of schedule 35. I don't know how.
So
I don't know
Washington
why.
has the.
I I don't
Is it because
compile these
Washington?
stats.
Because there were. I'm gonna tell you why. Washington, because, and this is why we were saying before about the Pac-12. If you look at from the beginning of the season until everybody started taking their losses, even when they took them, they were a lot of those teams were still ranked in the top 25. So at the time of Washington playing a lot of those teams early in the season, they were ranked in the top 25. The top 25 for the most part up until about maybe 2 weeks ago was very Pac-12 heavy. Maybe 3 weeks ago.
Now
Maybe a
check
little
this
further
out.
back, but
Oregon strength of
it
schedule.
was very Pac-12 heavy.
Mm-hmm. Oregon strength of schedule 63.
Mm.
I'm looking for USC, but they're probably going to be way down there. I don't see it, but I know theirs was decent or whatever. But that's just why we say strength of schedule matters, because there's going to be some times where you're just going to get utter chaos and there's nothing you can do about it. You can only play who's on your schedule, play who's in front of you.
Chaos.
Um,
And that's it.
Speaking of utter chaos, the NBA, and specifically, two of the bullet points you wrote down was the Clips finally won with James Harden. So to that, we will give you a congratulations. It's about time.
After
Y'all
getting
were what?
ass
1-5?
whooped.
1-5 with Harden.
Yeah,
They finally won one.
1-5.
And your other bullet point was the Warriors can't buy a win. And I updated it until last night.
And then they got to win.
And guess who those two teams finally
Then
beat to get off their schneiden? The
the
Rockets.
streaking Rockets.
Who were on a 4-game winning streak. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, after going on that 4-game winning streak, the Rockets are now on a 3-game losing streak. Yeah,
Crazy.
3-game losing streak, because they're 6-6 now. They were 6-3. But it's kind of been an up and down season for them, because they were at one point, I believe, a 5 seed, or I know they were up to the 6 seed, but I want to say they got as high up as the 5 seed. As of right now, hard and solid. Put some respect. Okay, whatever you say, Miss Greenwood. As of right now, the Rockets are now down to the 9 seed. But you see like how tight the West is, because as of right now, I know we're still just barely 12, 15 games into the season or what have you. But when you look at the West, all the teams that are in the playoffs right now, from the 1 seed down to the 10 seed for the play-in, are separated by 4 games. 4 games separate the 1 seed from the 10 seed in the Western Conference right now. In the East, it's just as tight. There's 4.5 games that separate the Celtics from the Nets. So it's still really early. There's still a lot of basketball left. There's about 65, 70 some odd games left in the season. There's a whole hell of a lot of basketball left to play. But some things that we're seeing is, like he's pointing out, like the Clippers were doing really good before Harden got there, and they went on this terrible losing streak, and they got off the schneid. And the Warriors end up going on a losing streak, and then they got off the schneid. Both of those teams helped cool down the hot Rockets, who had got on the winning streak. So it's been a season of streaks, and it's crazy because the Rockets started 0-3, won 6 in a row, were 6-3, then they lost 3 in a row, now they're 6-6. You look at teams like Minnesota right now, who, with all the crap that happened with Rudy Gobert and all of that, everything, they're 10-3 in the top seed in the West. You look at the Nuggets, they're still who nobody thought that they would have championship. But, sometimes teams have championship hangover. They're 10-4 2 seed. A bit of a surprise is the OKC Thunder at the 3 seed at 10-4 to me. I just thought that they're coming on strong maybe about a year or so earlier than what I thought they would be. I thought this year they may like make their way into like maybe that 5-6 seed range, but right now, as it's early, but they're sitting at the 3 seed. It's a little bit, shocking to me. You don't think that's a little weird to you to see OKC at the 3 seed? Because I think that's a little weird.
Not really. Not really. That young core has been together for the last few years, and
Mm-hmm.
they're gelling. I like when you put a young core together like that, and then they start playing. Eventually, they got to start playing well. SGA is playing amazing. I saw that highlight tape you put on Instagram of him and Curry. Like he's
Oh
coming. He
yeah,
wants his respect this year. He wants his
yeah,
respect
and
this year,
he's
and he's
coming
playing
for it.
for it.
He's coming for it. He's
Yeah.
coming for it. Definitely coming for it. In Chet Holmgren has been like a revelation as well. Like people like they saw and they knew the skill set. They saw the long, lanky guy, 7'1", probably weighed a buck 05, soaking wet, holding 2 cinder blocks in his hand. But I mean, he's showing like yeah, I could really hoop. Like I could really do this. Like I'm really like that. And it's good to see, with the kid finally being healthy this year, seeing what he can actually do. And then, like you said, when you look at SGA and you got Josh Giddey and Lou Dort, uh, these guys, Trey Mann at the point, Aaron Wiggins, you got Jalen Williams. These guys are
Hmm.
are they're very, very young, but they're also really, really good. And the fact that they look so, like you said, they're gelling together. And it's cool to see like a really young team like that gel together so quickly, because typically it would take them some time to get their chemistry down pat.
Hmm.
But there's only one guy on that team that's over 30, and
What was
he's
that?
31. David Bertans, one of the backup forwards. He's
I know Bertans
31.
from San Antonio.
And then you got what's his name? Misic, one of the backup guards. He's 29.
Mm.
Kenrich Williams is 28. Like those are the 3 oldest guys on that team: 31, 29, and 28. So we're not talking about a team that has like, a
It's not a
solid core of vets that's like, been in
not
the
a
league
super
12 years or more.
not a super vet team or anything.
No, not at all. That's why it's just so crazy to me to see them have that kind of chemistry and come together like that so quickly. The
But then
Lakers,
to me it's not though, because like I said, like the core of that team though has been the young players that they've put together.
that's
So
true.
the
That
vet
is
like
true.
those younger vets, which is pretty much what they are at that 28, 29, like
Mm-hmm.
they're it's good to have them. I still think they need, I don't know. It's something they're gonna need going into that stretch after playoff after not after playoffs, but after All Star. That's gonna
Mm-hmm.
help them a lot. Where they may have to make some trades for a more proven vet, a more playoff proven vet. Whether it
And
doesn't have to
and
be a starter, could
and
just be somebody coming off the bench.
right, you just need a glue guy that's gonna help you get through some of those like thicker moments. Like when you
Hmm.
have that fourth quarter and it's 6.5 minutes left and you down 7 and you've been shooting yourself in the foot all game by taking stupid shots and turning the ball over. That's when you need that veteran guy that's gonna be like, hey guys, look, like we're gonna do this and I'm gonna walk y'all through it. We're gonna go through it together. Sometimes you need that guy that's been on that team that's kind of done his thing. Um Keontae Johnson, highlight him right quick because I think somebody was laughing in the chat. Littlefoot put her parlay up, and somebody asked, "Who the
Oh
hell is
yeah,
Keontae Johnson?"
you don't
He's
know
one of
Keontae.
those undersized forwards. One of those undersized forwards that they have in the game right now. 6'4", 230. He played a lot of the post or whatnot when he was at Kansas State. He kind of plays that kind of position for them now. That kind of, 6'4", 6'5", maybe 6'6" guy, but really thickly built, solid, stocky. Uh, won't get pushed around underneath the basket. Does a lot of bully ball kind of, that kind of player. Um,
Hmm.
but I like those kind of players because you need those kind of guys on your team. Looking at some other stuff, the Memphis Grizzlies are still down there near the bottom of the Western Conference. They're 3-10. Uh, Wemby and the Spurs, the
I think
talk of the town, 3-11. They're
I think
actually the
Memphis.
last team in the West.
I think Memphis is going to be down there until they get everybody back healthy. Smart just went down. He's going to miss a couple games.
Yeah,
They're still
he's
a
out
couple weeks
until
out from
sometime in
getting.
December.
Yeah, I think him and Ja come back around the same time. So I think Memphis is going to be one of those teams that's like near the bottom until. And a lot of people projected that the Smart pickup was supposed to help them not be so low,
And that's what we all
but
thought.
so, but I think until they get both of them back, and then they're able to, it's still going to take them a while to gain their chemistry together. But they're
Mm-hmm.
young players, so the way and we talked about this before, I feel like with young players, backyard basketball, it ain't always chemistry. It's just let's go out there and hoop. We know what we're doing.
Yeah,
We the
you
best at what we do. Like we made it.
when those guys have a good grasp of the system that you're trying to run, and they know they're going to get their shots through the flow of the offense, and you trust each other, it's easier when you have chemistry and trust. You can have chemistry and not have trust. And I know people think that's crazy, but it's like, just for example, we could play well together, and I know, how you like the ball. I know where you want the ball, I know where your hot spots are, whatever. Like, cool. But what if I don't trust you in certain situations to do what I need you to do? Just because
Hmm.
we play well together and we know each other does not mean that I always trust you to make the play that I need you to make in the situation I need you to make it in. So
Exactly.
that's one of the things that, people have to realize, that there's different layers and levels in order to build a team, and not only build a team, but build a winner and a contender, because you can win games, but then can you contend for championships, and constantly contend for playoff spots and higher up playoff spots? That's the kind of things that you want to see from young guys and young rosters and young stars that you have growing up in the league right now. Uh, but the league is in a really healthy place, because you look at a lot of these top teams, and they have a lot of good quality young stars who should be building blocks for these teams near into the future.
Hmm.
So the league is healthy right now. I'm really enjoying it.
Nah, it
Um,
definitely is. Like it's at a point where when a lot of those vets like that '03 class as they were leaving out. Even though I
mhm.
think LeBron is officially the only one left now, I believe, from that '03 draft.
um,
I don't
it
think
may be.
it's
I think so, because I think CP3 came in like '05.
yeah, I think CP was at like a little after. So um at least from that '03 draft, Braun is the last one. So we said once those vets were done, and even the CP3 like that, I think anything from like what this is what 2023 now.
Yeah.
So anything from like maybe '03 up to '06 in a sense. Maybe '07 a little bit, but mostly '06. Anywhere in that 3 to 4 season range. Once those guys are gone, like the league, and I'm pretty sure it's not too many of them left to be honest between those drafts. Um the league is in good hands. I like the young boys that's came in
Hey, I don't know.
from.
I think Jason Capono could still shoot.
Is he still in the league?
Nah, I'm just I was just looking at the
I mean,
2003 draft. I was just trying to find the most random name I could find for the
I
2000.
remember Jason Capono.
Bro, dude could really shoot though. Like, remember he won a 3-point contest. I
Yeah,
know at least once. Yeah, but basketball is in a really healthy spot right now.
it is. I'm gonna definitely pay. I've been paying attention a lot more, not just because. Well, I ain't gonna lie, it's probably a lot because of the pod, but I've been watching a lot more college lately. Just to stay, because I haven't been watching college for real, for real. Like when my brother left Syracuse, that was probably the last time I paid attention. So it's like that was
Yeah,
years ago. What the
yeah,
twins
that is true. I
are?
do remember you told me about that.
That's
We talked
crazy.
about that, I think, last
The
week.
twins. I'm trying to remember. The twins were born on draft night. They were. They were actually born on draft night. So
That's
they're
crazy.
what 7? So that was 7 years ago. So
Damn.
like
And you know what's crazy? I'm
I
not gonna
really
lie. Like
haven't been
I
paying attention to
haven't.
college since then.
Let me tell you, and just pull back the curtain a little bit. Like I told my girl's son, I was like, I said, like watching you play because of your basketball IQ and how you like he's a junior. He watches film and he studies the game. And when like he's looking at something on YouTube, it's basketball stuff. Like that's all he wants to do. And
Hmm.
like he knows the game and plays it the right way. Like he could be selfish if he wanted to, but he plays the game the right way anyway. Even when he has the green light, he still isn't selfish. And it's like I told him, I was like literally watching you and some of these other people and stuff like that, it made me start enjoying basketball again because it got me back to watching the
Right.
game for what it is and appreciating the beauty of the game and the way it's played now. And a lot of it is some of that I'll, just as we transition a little bit, um, is due to the women and what they've done. And looking at
Yep.
this past week, um, I mean, we saw some okay games in the men's side, and it is what it is right now because you get a lot of what they call the quote unquote preseason tournaments and different stuff like that. So you may get an upset here or there. But the biggest story in the women's game, this NCAA basketball period, this past week was the drama with Angel Reese, LSU, Kim Mulkey, and the supposed suspension and what's actually going on. We don't
Hmm.
know. They won't say. You
Because
hear the
she's suspended,
rumors.
but it's like, yes, we don't know why.
Why? Right. We don't know why. Um, her mom and Flaugier Johnson's mom was getting into it on Instagram. I mean, it's like it's a mess. And it all started with that upset loss. To me, that's
Yep,
where it
that was
started.
when it started.
That's where it started. When they lost that game, that really set them back. And it was a blow to their ego, right? And once you get a blow to your ego like that,
Uh
then
huh.
it's like,
Which is
you
good.
know, you sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need to be chin check, but once that happened,
But sometimes it can show the chinks in the armor also.
right. And I mean, you lost to another ranked team, but you lost by 14 points and you didn't really look like you were into the game at any point in time. Now, you've won what, 5 straight since
Nope.
then? But look at what you're facing.
I believe it was, yeah.
So it's like,
I bet
you
you
know,
nobody's
the
no offense.
Queens, Mississippi Valley State, Kent State, Southeast Louisiana, and TSU. Powder puffs. But it's still, they went out, they won those games. You still got to
Bunch of
play, you still
who's,
got to win. The thing is, though,
of course.
like the most popular female in the sport, bar none, that's not even arguable, now is at odds with her coach over something, whether it's her attitude or grades or whatever it is, they're at odds. And now we have this layer of drama that wasn't quite necessary to draw attention to the game. It's drawing the wrong kind of attention to the game at this point in time. But
Exactly.
we're gonna see how it develops. But one thing that, like, my little odd stat of the week, and I love finding these little weird stats. Hannah Hidalgo of Notre Dame, over a 2-game span, had 18 steals. I don't know how balloons just popped up. I don't know what that was. I didn't press anything. I don't know what that was. That was weird. But anyway, Hannah Hidalgo. Hey, what if I was celebrating my birthday early? It's about a month early, but still,
you know what's crazy? I don't know if you noticed it earlier. So real quick, I don't know if you noticed it earlier, but it was when you said something, and you could watch it on the playback. A thumbs up was like right here. It was like a cloud, like a thinking cloud. It had a thumbs up like by your head. And I was like, "The hell is this nigga over here
bro,
doing?"
That's crazy.
I was like, "The fuck is this fool doing?" Like you'll see it on the playback though. It went along with what you said though. That's why I thought you did it. And it was fire. I was like, okay.
No.
I'm about to ask him later how he did that.
Y'all see, I could barely get the music to work this week because I forgot I had my phone on silent. That's what it was. So when my phone was on silent, that's why the music wasn't playing. I just figured that out like earlier. That's how I was able to play the chaos drop. But like, no, I don't know how I did that. I don't know what happened. I did see that happen. I don't know if it was Black Wrestling or if it was the Wednesday Worldwide, but I know it was something Cal was on, and he had balloons that kept going off. I don't know what that was about, but I do remember seeing that on their pod. But anyway, like I mean, the men's game was pretty tame this past week. We didn't see or hear anything crazy. Real
couple undefeated games tonight. Kansas, I was just looking at it. Oh, I can tell you.
Marquette is actually winning that game 16-14. They're still early on. It's about 14 or 13 minutes left. I'm sorry. And Kansas it's 19-16 now. Purdue beat Tennessee earlier. What was that score?
So I'm glad I didn't take that bet then, because the one I was looking at
71-67. I'm sorry.
The one I was looking at had
those
Tennessee
2 teams were undefeated. It was Tennessee and who?
The one I was looking at had Tennessee. It was a prop bet for Tennessee and Marquette winning tonight. So I'm glad I didn't take it because
okay.
Tennessee lost. I was actually gonna take it too. It was a big payoff, but I was iffy on. And see, I wasn't iffy on the Tennessee game. I was iffy on Marquette and Kansas. I thought Tennessee was gonna beat Purdue. I was more iffy on Marquette and Kansas, and it looked like it's backwards.
Bruh, Zach Edey is. I mean, he's not one of those, I'm gonna be a big 7 foot, big old tall guy and can't do nothing. No, he may be 7'4", 300 pounds, but I mean, the kid can actually play. Like, he knows how to use his size and his weight advantage, and like he's got to get the free throws under control. He's like Shaq at the free throw line because he was 9 of 17 tonight. Now, if you think about it, if he had a more respectable free throw percentage, he would have had way more than just 23 points because he was 7 out of 10 shooting, 9 of 17 from the free throw line. If he makes a few more free throws each game, like if he improves that free throw percentage, he's going to be easily like a way more valuable player at the next level, because then it's like we don't necessarily have to take him out at the end of the game because he can A, rebound, B, defend the basket, C, if they do end up fouling him, he can make his foul shots. So
And that's
I'm
always the thing with
just
the big man. Like they put the big men on the line because they know they can't make their free throws. So
right. Anytime you get any, and I mean, there's been some guys where I've seen them do hack a guy where it's like a decent shooter, but for whatever reason, the free throw line is just it's their Achilles heel. Nick Anderson, one of the most clutch 3-point shooters of all
oh
time.
yeah,
He got the yips from the free throw line in that NBA Finals, and he was never right from the free throw line after that. So it does happen. It's just, you know, and you look at guys like Karl Malone, who started off his career as like a 60 something or 50 something free throw percent shooter and ended his career in the mid 70s. You know, so he was able to turn it around. You know, it just takes putting in the work at the charity stripe in the gym by yourself, you know, endless hours every day, all day to perfect that shot
I
and to
mean
make sure you're
it's
stepping up for
called
your team
it's called a free throw.
for a
It's
reason.
an easy shot, easy
It don't
money
take
every time.
much. I mean, you right there. You right there. Speaking of what should have been easy but was
CFO.
made more difficult. Look, elbow in, release, rotation,
Hey,
wrist, all there.
it's beautiful, man.
Um,
It's beautiful.
it's like I was saying, trying to be a media professional. Speaking of something that should have been easy but was made more difficult, Shakur Stevenson, he won his fight.
He won
Edwin De Los Santos.
with one
Believe
hand.
here it goes. I have it pulled up now. I was waiting for it to load, but on the scorecards, he outpointed him on all three scores. It was unanimous, but listen how close this was: 115, 113, 116, 112, and 116, 112. So looking at this fight, and I mean,
So
you paid a lot more attention to it than I did, but the one thing that stuck out to me was that and ESPN put it was like the third sentence in this paragraph. Neither fighter landed double-digit punches in any of the 12 rounds.
very defensive, strategic fight. You could tell he's been working with Floyd. Um, he beat him with one hand.
Okay,
That's the
talk
thing people
about it.
don't realize is that.
Talk about it.
Oh, excuse me. People don't understand. Shakur was hurt. Floyd, who was it that Floyd beat with one hand when he broke his hand and he still won the fight?
I got to look that one up because it's not popping up to me, but I do remember him having a fight where he did win like that. I remember a couple of fighters
He
actually
won with one hand.
winning fights like that.
I think he swung with his
Um,
right hand. But yeah, this wasn't Shakur's best. And the one thing I love is after the fight, you didn't see him bragging about the win. Well, he did in the ring, but of course he was supposed to. Adrenaline's running. But as far as on social media, after days after, everything literally was like, I know this wasn't my best. I owe y'all. I got y'all next fight. Devin Haney did the bitch shit, and I don't like Devin Haney at all. Like the bitch shit that I knew he was gonna do. He got on social media and it was like, I'm glad I didn't take this fight, or I'm glad it was something. It was no, it was that, and he was talking about the split. He was like, I should have
mm-hmm.
gave him less. I should have offered less on the split. And I'm like, I don't think you realize, even with him showing you this in this fight, he still would have beat you. It's the reason you're running. It's a reason. Just like I seen the reports that came out today or something along those lines, where um they were saying that Haney's dad said something about them doing a spar session. And I'm
For
like,
this
for
week,
what?
Mm-hmm.
Take that same money that y'all want to put into the spar, that same money you want to put into this spar session, and let's put them in the ring and make it for real. Let's put them belts on the line. Like,
Thank you.
I
And
still
then
think
this
Shakur
is my
Stevenson is one of the
thing.
most dangerous fighters.
Mm-hmm. This is my thing though, and this has always been my thing with boxing, and it really like ticks me off, and I'm glad we transitioning into our rants because I'm gonna go on a mini rant real quick. Boxing has to do away with these promoters having so much power over the sport. And the federations need to find a way,
They
the
have too much.
federations and the athletic commissions need to find a way. I don't care if y'all like call a monopoly against the promoters. I don't care what y'all do. If y'all partner with them, whatever this looks like, boxing needs to fix itself because there's too many fighters that are way too close in weight class that are not fighting each other. And I
That are
believe you
ducking,
even spoke to it
ducking
last week or week before
the
last when we
Floyd
talked
Mayweather
about
effect.
some. Yeah, we talked about it last week because we talked about
Just
that
like
big heavyweight card coming up in Saudi next month, and then we just talked
uh-huh.
about. I think we previewed this fight and some other fights. But it's like,
Well, even recently, they just stripped Bud. They just stripped Bud of his title. And Boots Ennis is now the not undisputed, but Boots Ennis is the champ now of the division that um Bud was in before because Bud didn't defend the title. So one of
mhm,
Bud's next fights actually is gonna be Boots, and I love it because I like Boots a lot. I love Bud, but Boots is tough. Boots is tough. That's gonna be
yeah,
because pretty much his next two fights are supposed to be Boots and the rematch with Arrow. So
okay,
those are gonna be two. I'm not sure how they're gonna do. I think Errol is gonna be first, then Boots, of course. Um, and I'm not sure if they worked everything out because I think Boots is supposed. I mean, Errol, the rematch is supposed to be at sometime in December, but I think it's getting moved to January now because of everything else that's going on with the other fights and
oh
stuff in boxing. But
yeah,
that's a
there
fight.
were.
Like,
Let me see if I
Bud,
can
the
find
one thing
because
I
I
like
saw
is
us. They have a schedule
Bud
here.
is
Give me 1 second.
traditional. Bud is more like Bud is more
He's
like, my
such a
man, hold
good.
on, I
He's
like
such a good fighter
you get in there,
because
you're the better
he
fighter.
can.
You are the better
He can
fighter.
not only. He can not only. If you want to like throw punches, he can throw punches. But if you want to really box, he can box because he's a really good counter puncher. And he's carried his power up those weight classes as he's gone up in weight. And he's probably
Yeah.
one of my favorite fighters to watch right now. Outside of Gervonta Davis, um, I still enjoy somewhat Tyson Fury. Um, Jared Big Baby Davis is one of my new favorite heavyweights to watch. Um, I'm gonna say Regis Progrod just because he's from back home, so gotta represent because he's from New Orleans and he lives out here in Houston, the Houston area, so gotta watch him.
Huh.
But and I already know you probably gonna be rooting for him on December 9th because he's fighting Haney. Uh, so that's gonna be a good one that's coming up. But there's some decent fights that's coming up
Yeah.
sometime soon. But
It is. It's a lot of fights that a lot of people that need to happen before certain fighters get too old, and
yes,
so it's some good
and
stuff coming up. There's some good stuff coming up.
I'm glad that that big heavyweight card is coming up next month in Saudi. Do they even have it on here? Yeah, here it goes. Anthony Joshua is fighting Otto Wallen. Deontay Wilder is fighting Joseph Parker. Daniel Dubois is fighting
Hmm.
Jarrell Miller. Frank Sanchez is fighting Junior Fa. And then there's a title fight. There's to be announced some other cruiserweight fight. But that's the big heavyweight card in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on December 23rd. So I'm really looking forward to that one because it's all heavyweights. And then you have, of course, the one cruiserweight fight. But to see Wilder and Joshua on that stage at that press conference cameras, like literally in the same room, staring each other down and kind of talking to each other and kind of being cordial. You can see the tension there, even though they both weren't in the same camera shot, just the two alternating cameras between those two guys. The tension was very palpable just watching it on the screen and just seeing the way they looked at one another. And one thing that I picked up, just this is just my observation, was that Wilder looked like he wants to kill Joshua. Joshua looks like whatever, dude, like he doesn't really care, or like
That's what you
he
got.
kind of had a smirk on his face almost, or maybe, but to me, it wasn't really like fear. I won't say it was fear, and I won't say it was like concern. It was just like this. I don't know. It wasn't like it wasn't like a
I don't
macho
know.
kind of thing. It didn't come off as
No,
like
I think he was
I'm not
confused
scared of
too.
you. That may
I
have
think he
been
was
it.
shocking because
Maybe that was it.
I don't think he thought Wilder was going to like. I don't think Wilder was going to get. I don't think he. I'm sorry. I don't think he thought Wilder was going to give him his flowers as he was during that press
Bingo.
conference. He was, I
Bingo.
think, mentally he was more prepared
Bingo.
for Wilder to be like, "I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna beat you up. I'm gonna da da da."
Mhm.
And Wilder was more like, "Hey man, if we get in the ring, I hope we get in the ring. I want us to get in the ring. But if we
Right.
don't, I want you to have a great career. If we never fight,
Right.
I want you
Right.
to be the best and the greatest along with me." Instead, and Wilder's changed a lot too. I think Fury whooping that ass that did it. Uh,
He had to be humble. It's just,
but
what did we talk
he's
about earlier?
definitely
Sometimes you got to get hit in the
he got
mouth.
humbled. He got
He got humble.
3 fights in a row. 3 fights in a
Yep.
row.
Yep.
So, but yeah, but I want to see him and Joshua. But I think Joshua, I feel like Joshua got to have his one-on-one with Fury. Then him and Wilder got to go at it because at that point, if let's say Fury beats Joshua, both of us have lost to Fury. Now we got to go fight to see who goes back at him. Instead of it being we gonna fight, and then let's say Wilder beats him, Joshua's never gonna get a fight with Fury. I want to see
Hey,
Joshua and
Usyk.
Fury.
What's his name? Usyk or whatever. Who is it that Fury is supposed to be fighting? Yeah, Usyk. Alexander Usyk. Usyk may upset all of us.
Usyk. Usyk.
I don't.
Even Fury last fight.
I'm
I hate
just
it. I'm
putting it
so
out
mad when
there.
they be doing these like crossover. I hate them. And Fury lost. Bad.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Very bad.
Fury,
Your lineal
Fury,
champion got beat bad.
Fury did not look good in that fight. And people can try to argue
At
whatever they
all.
want to say that this is why he outpointed him. This is why he won. When we look at that fight and you have a whole knockdown, and that puts you technically 2 points up in that particular fight because it's supposed to be a 10-8 round, and then you still end up getting outpoint. Like, you can't tell me that was bare minimum at least a draw.
The fix was out.
Oh, come on, man. It's like I put
The
that tweet
fix
out.
was
Like,
in.
boxing could not let their heavyweight cash cow and the lineal champion lose to a UFC guy in his heavyweight debut. They could not allow that to happen, because now you turn that whole,
Oh,
not just that division, but that whole sport on its head. Because now, if you allow that to happen, every MMA fighter out there who's not happy with the way his MMA career is going to say, I bet you I can go
yep.
to boxing and knock out one of these guys.
I
That's
can come
exactly
to
why you can't allow that to happen.
I can go to boxing and make this something now.
Exactly. You can't allow that to happen.
But
Speaking
on
of
the flip
combat
side,
sports, uh-huh.
oh, go ahead.
Speaking of
I
combat
was just
sports,
gonna say on the flip side, that man did exactly what nobody thought he was gonna do.
Thank you. While we on the combat sports, we get to our this is like sometimes it's my favorite segment of the week. We get to our weekly rants this week where we get to fire off at whatever is disturbing us. This week, Keyz, you might want to go first. Cause I don't know how I'm gonna go once I get going.
I get to scream at the baby mamas. Oh
boy. Oh boy.
Hey man, I ain't even mad at Brandon Ingram. He ain't even the one I need to come to the Anthony Simmons, brother, young man. I ain't gonna say brother, young. You young enough to be my little brother, but young man, how you get caught? How you get caught up, man? How you become baby daddy number two in the NBA to the same baby mama of Brandon Ingram? Uh, how y'all be getting caught by the gold digger hoes, man? How y'all be letting? How you NBA niggas? Like I know
Man.
y'all talk. Y'all might not be friends during the season like that, but like I know y'all talk. How do y'all continuously? Because y'all ain't the first ones. There's another set in the NBA too that's like Eskimo brothers. I can't think. I forgot. I really forgot who it was, and it'll come to me maybe next show or something like that. I have it to come back to, but there's a couple of niggas in the league that's Eskimo brothers. Like y'all got kids that are
Mm-hmm.
siblings because y'all keep getting caught by the same gold digging hoe.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like once that baby mama is no longer with the first NBA player, y'all niggas need to send an Amber Alert out or something to the entire league. Hey, bro, this the bitch. Don't touch her. And I'm not telling you on some hating shit. I'm telling you because look what she about to be on. Hey, if you want to be on it,
Well, I'm in
hit it, but put a
need.
condom on. I ain't telling you
Yes,
not
she's
to
a
hit it.
trifling
I ain't
friend
no player. I ain't no
indeed.
player hater.
Oh, she's a gold digger. Way over town that digs on me.
Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke niggas. Now I ain't saying she a gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke niggas.
Hey,
Yeah,
I
man.
just
But
had to
this is
give you a
blatant that
soundtrack
she's
to
a
it.
gold digger. I ain't. Hey man, I ain't saying she don't like Anthony Simmons. I don't know the dynamics of their relationship, but just the way it looks, the optics of it looks horrible. Baby, baby mama gets pregnant by another NBA nigga. That's the way it looks. That's the optics of it.
We do
Does she
not own
care
the
about the
rights to this
kids?
music, by the
Maybe.
way.
I mean, she had them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you know it's YouTube. Hopefully they don't.
Gotta say, we do not own the
But
rights to that music.
yeah, that's my rant, man. Like you niggas keep getting. I understand you local drug
Keyz has turned
dealing
into an Autobot right now.
niggas or you local niggas. That's
Oh
that's just whatever's around town. Like niggas keep
man, Keyz has gotten so angry he caused his internet to like disrupt. Like he and I feel him though because man, y'all, what did y'all do to Keyz to upset him like that? Like he knocked
it
out
did.
all his internet.
I think it's me. Wildin'.
Wow. Like y'all really pissed Keyz off with that. Like, can y'all please stop being Eskimo brothers and having siblings with the same lady around the leagues, please? So Key's internet could come back because y'all ran him hot. Like he bleeped himself. He had to censor himself. Um, but my rant for this week, um, this was exactly 1 week ago today, as a matter of fact. It was last Tuesday. So we recorded, I believe, last Wednesday. So it actually took place before we recorded. or that night or that day or something like that. I just didn't like start looking at the responses and whatnot until like a couple of days later. But back in the Saints Vikings game, Deuce Wyndham at Rev Deuce Wyndham on Twitter, he posted a tweet on the 13th that night and said, "This is wild to me. Two Saints quarterbacks both missing the same read multiple times versus deep two coverage to their best options. First two are Winston, second two are Carr. One of those definitely goes for a touchdown," he says in the Carr photos. This game was QB hell. And he posted some still shots where there were Saints receivers running up the sideline, and those two quarterbacks, I'm sorry, didn't see those receivers. And I mean, still shots are one thing. You don't really know what's going on the still shot, but you can obviously see where the safeties are, where their hips and their eyes are focused and turned, and then where those receivers are running with their hands up, saying that they're open. Those are throws into windows that good quarterbacks, good to great quarterbacks, can make. My comment was, and I quoted the tweet the next day, let them tell it. And Jameis Winston is Drew Brees compared to Derek Carr. There's a reason both guys were available when they were. What I meant by that was the backup quarterback is always the most popular person in town. He's always, the most popular guy. Everybody loves the backup quarterback. When Jameis got hurt and he came back, tried to come back that season, Andy Dalton was playing. Everybody wanted Andy Dalton to come back. Everybody wanted Andy Dalton. But then when Andy Dalton showed his ass and he showed he couldn't really do it anymore, everybody wanted Jameis to come back. They get Derek Carr. Okay. Carr's doing not really doing anything spectacular. Everybody wants Jameis to play. Carr gets hurt in that game. Jameis plays. And look what happens. He also missed throws. He also couldn't come back. So my comment was just speaking to the fact that, neither one of these guys would have been available had they been good to great quarterbacks. That's basically all I was saying, right? Here's one of the comments I get. Dude, shut up. Winston sucks. This guy's a Raiders fan. Another guy. It is also funny how in all but maybe first example, nobody is open. It's like these casual think DBs are frozen on the field from the screenshots. LMFAO. Smiley laughing face emoji. First guy, Raider fan. They're all clowns. At this point on this app, I don't block them because the entertainment is worth it. Especially when they post frozen screenshots. Another one. Also, Carr was let go because McDaniels was reliving his Bronco days with the Raiders and immediately got rid of the starting quarterback. He was fired within a month. He was fired just a few months later for incompetence. Hopefully, New Orleans fixes the O-line and OC issues that are holding Carr and the entire offense back. Same guy. Carr has four Pro Bowls and an MVP candidacy. I'm going to just stop right there because when you say he's been to 4 Pro Bowls and he was an MVP candidate, that's when you reach it. And a famous thing Michael Jordan said is, you reach, I teach. So let me explain something to you why that basically invalidated your argument. The Pro Bowl is something voted on by fans. Hardly nobody wants to go to the Pro Bowl. The two teams in the Super Bowl are not representing the Pro Bowl because they're busy playing in the Super Bowl. All the other top players don't want to go because it's a waste of time. No one cares. And literally at one point, they had a guy that was in the Pro Bowl that had a 1-2 record as a backup quarterback for the Ravens, I think a year or two ago. That's how far down it goes when it goes to making a Pro Bowl. And an MVP candidacy, A candidate to be a candidate for MVP? That's what you went with? The same guy who couldn't lead his team to a winning record to save his life? That guy? That's who you talking about. Like, the thing that's so funny to me, and he's talking about, oh, these are screenshots, and this is you guys are clowns. Later on, Deuce Wyndham and I were talking about it, and he pointed out there was another guy at Kadeem Janish on Twitter. He posted some real good throws from Drew Brees to Michael Thomas a couple years ago. I believe one was against the Eagles. Yeah, both of them were against the Eagles. And I basically quoted the tweet and tagged Deuce Wyndham and said, hey, these are some of the throws that Saints fan you were talking about last week. And he replied and said, Saints fans as a whole don't realize how high level Drew really was. And that's where our little conversation started, is simply because those throws that he originally posted in the screenshot showing how Jameis and Derek Carr missed those throws are throws that good to great quarterbacks can make. If you're an above average quarterback in this league, you should be able to make that throw without a problem. Everybody knows that. Whether it's cover 2 or it's man, when those safeties are split and they're playing close to the numbers or inside the numbers in the hash, and that receiver has beaten that outside corner, whether it's man or if it's cover 2, if that outside corner is just drifting back and there's that space between where that corner is playing and where that safety is, a quarterback needs to be able to make that throw deep down in that part of the field to be able to complete that pass. That's a throw that regular NFL quarterbacks should be able to make. I'm not asking for one of these guys to do something outrageous. I'm asking them to make a throw an NFL quarterback can make. So you trying to come at me and say, oh, you're a clown, and you posted screenshots and blah, 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 blah. Bro, I have forgotten more football than you or anybody in your whole entire bloodline will ever know in all of y'all lives combined. So if you're going to come at me, like they said at The Wire, you come at the king, you best not miss. And right now, y'all miss bad. Because the shit that y'all trying to talk to me, it ain't even worth it. And that's the reason why I don't quote tweet and I don't reply to people like that. Because y'all don't know enough. Another line, Jay-Z said, you a candle and I'm the sun. That shit don't even out. Your arm's too short to box with God. So I'm not even going to talk to you. I'm not going to amplify your signal by quote tweeting it or retweeting it or replying to it or nothing like that. I'm just going to get my shit off my chest right here on my podcast and I'm going to leave that shit be. That's why the people that I know and I respect their opinions and their thoughts and things like that, I'll quote tweet that. I'll retweet that. Or like my friends at CDB Multimedia, I'll quote tweet and retweet their stuff because I know them, I trust them, I believe in them. But the rest of y'all that just be on social media just talking shit just to troll and just to get followers and clicks and views and to get your rocks off, and you probably go in the corner of your mama's room in the basement or something and jack off to it because, hey, look, I got somebody to reply to me today. Like, man, y'all could keep that bullshit because I know way more than you will ever know. And the people that I talk to that know me, that I talk to about this game, that are high level folks, they respect it. They know what I'm talking about. They give me my props. I'm not going to broadcast that shit because I don't need to, because their respect and them talking to me and we going back and forth and whatever and whatnot, like that's all I need. That's all I need. Because at the end of the day, you and your 37 followers and your messed up Abby and you being a fan of your team to where you can't pull off those team colored glasses and be able to focus and admit when your team has flaws and deficiencies and doesn't do shit right. Like, that's you. you continue to be a fan, I'm gonna continue to be a media person. I'm gonna continue to be a truthful analyst. And I've gotten into it with family members who don't like shit that I gotta say about the team that we root for, the New Orleans Saints. And guess what? I really don't give a fuck either. Because guess what? At the end of the day, if you ask me a question, I'm gonna answer it honestly. If you don't want to know the answer to that question, don't fucking ask me, because I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Don't you fucking ask me.
And with that being said, I'm gonna chill because I don't want my blood pressure to get up, because I'm old and I gotta go to bed in a little bit. Gotta get up and go to work in the morning. But we're gonna end it right there. I think I've said enough.
Don't you push. Don't you test
my bruh, I swear, bruh, me and my dad talk about this, and this is something for something I need to put on Kyle's other podcast when we talk about mental health and shit like that. But like we talk about, don't bring that monster back out. Like, just because you see the nice, cool guys or whatever that we are now, like, we talk about each other's past and whatnot. And he and I, like, knowing we got to that level now where it's like we could talk about that shit now. And it's okay for us to talk about it now because we've gone through with it and we've come out on the other side better people. And it's like we always say, don't bring that monster back out of us, please, because we don't want to be responsible for what happens when you bring that other person back out of us. So that's why I try to stay out of shit, stay out the way, and just stay in my little corner of the internet, the world, whatever, and just, be me, because I don't need nobody bringing that back out. That being said, don't test me, because you will fuck around and your ass gonna find out. But now that we got the music back working,
don't you push me. Don't you push me.
Man, look. Leave that dude where he at. Don't bring him, man. Leave him alone. He sleep. Let him stay asleep forever, please. I beg of thee. I'm more scared of me than I am of anything else. That being said, we got the Thanksgiving song as the outro as well.
Look at here. Look. I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, chicken, turkeys, rabbits. You name it. Look. I got beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys, rabbits. You name it. Beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb, rams, hogs, dogs, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes, chicken, turkeys.
Hey man,
greens, potatoes, tomatoes, lamb.
On behalf of Sucio Sportz, Sucio Boys, all the fellas, we want to hope you guys have a wonderful Thanksgiving.
On behalf of the Drelax podcast, Aim High, Four Corners of Commentary. Please, peep out the Shogun Soccer sit down, because remember didn't he just drop that like a couple days ago?
Yeah,
the Beckham
did,
episode.
Great recap,
bro.
on the
Please
Beckham
go
documentary that was on Netflix.
Yeah, go peep all of that out on the network, on Apple, Spotify, all of that. With that being said,
yeah, man,
this is Sucio Boys, Sucio Sportz.
Enjoy your family, have fun, dress nice.
Yeah, we might come back on and do a live or something on Instagram or Twitter Spaces or something like that sometime this weekend or something. You just never know. We may just pop out, just be like, bam, hey,
yeah, Thursday. I ain't gonna lie, I might go live from the family crib on Thursday though, just because there's a lot of there's some good games that's coming on Thursday. NBA, NFL,
it's gonna be crazy.
I want to say college also. So
like this whole weekend, like from Thursday to Sunday, bro. Like it's gonna be crazy.
Yeah. So
I think we're gonna have a lot more to talk about.
Usually a great time in sports.
Yeah, definitely.
But we are.
Y'all enjoy yourselves. Y'all be safe out there. Don't do nothing we won't do. If you're gonna be good, if you're gonna be bad, be good at it. That's what I meant to say. I kept fumbling it, but you get what I'm saying. All right. We will holler at y'all next week. Keyz, we Tuesday or Wednesday next week?
We out.
We out. We'll
I have no
let y'all
idea
know
yet. I ain't
Tuesday
gonna
or
lie.
one of them days. It's gonna be around the same time. One of them days
Either way, we
next
there.
week. Just look.
We be there. You'll be there. Just be there. Pull up.
Just be there.